So I wanted to share a bit more about my experience with doubt during a transition and how it can make you feel less valid. And I just wanted to do that in hope that someone else will feel less alone and relate to my story. The first one is not showering in dark, or more broadly, not seeing any signs of dysphoria. When I was figuring out my gender, I didn't see or recognize any signs of dysphoria. I didn't hate my body, or at least I thought so. And that was mostly because I've been feeling dysphoria my whole life. And so I didn't know that the feelings I was having were not feelings everybody was having. So because I thought I didn't have any, I thought I wasn't valid as a trans person, which is not true. You can totally have no dysphoria, but still feel euphoric about certain part of the transition, and that's totally valid. So that was one of the first thing that really made me doubt not being trans. I thought if everyone else sleeps with their binder, if everyone else has to shower in the dark and I don't, then I'm probably not trans. So what helped was to really focus on euphoria rather, and to understand that transitioning just because it will make you happier and not because you're feeling really bad is valid. The second one was the fact that it was a process and not an epiphany, in the sense of I always thought that trans people just realized it this, or they knew it their whole life, and so because it took me so long to understand that I was trans, and part of it was trying new things and experiencing things, I thought I was just faking it or being an imposter. For example, with my pronouns, it didn't feel good the first time. The first time was rather awkward actually. And so because I didn't feel good right away, I thought I was faking it. But actually, it takes a lot of time. And for a lot of people, not for everyone, but for a lot of people, it's transitioning is a process. So even if you feel like faking it at first, and if you feel awkward the first time you hear pronouns that you think might be the ones for you, that's totally normal. It's okay not to know right away, and it's okay if it makes you uncomfortable at first. Just do what makes your heart happy, and everything will be fine. The third one is something that I felt really alone with this one, because I heard about a lot of people not having dysphoria, but this one I didn't hear anyone actually talk about it, and that was not being able to wear girly clothes anymore, or makeup or stuff like that. And at first I thought I had to be gender fluid or something like that because I wanted to wear clothes from the girl section. But then with time I realized that it was actually I didn't want to wear girl clothes. It was more that I was sad that the guys' clothes were so boring. Because, hear me out, you can find a lot of good pieces in guys' clothes, and I was really happy to have finally access to guys' clothes. But often it would be way harder to find unique pieces in the guys' section. And that was really hard for me. And also with the makeup, well, guys don't really wear makeup, at least until now, and or earrings and stuff like that. And it was really hard for me to stop wearing all those things. And especially at the beginning of my transition, I didn't feel confident enough, and it made me feel dysphoric. Now that I'm more confident in who I am as a guy, I started wearing those again, and I'm really happy about it. But at first, I thought that feeling sad about not wearing girls' clothes anymore meant that I couldn't be trans, or that I wasn't a real man. The fourth thing is a bit silly, but yeah, I'm sure a lot of you will understand. Something that made me doubt a lot is that I was having doubts. I thought that trans people had to know, and it was something so deep and so important to your identity that you were sure of it, especially if you were thinking about it for a long time. And I was thinking, oh, I've been figuring out my gender for a year or more, and I'm still doubting it. That means it's wrong, because at this point I should know. But it's not at all. It's transitioning is really, really scary. It's normal that you doubt, and it's totally okay. This one I thought, because I was sad about leaving those two communities, that it meant that I was a woman. Because for me, if you're sad about not being a lesbian anymore, then you are a lesbian, then you are a woman. At least on the moment, that's how I made sense of it. With time, I realized that, at least for me, growing up as a woman was a part of my identity and still is. And I'm really proud of that. Now I can understand women better and I can respect them better. And also, it took me some time to realize that my opinion and my experience is still valid in feminism. And for a long time, I felt like, oh, I'm a man now, so it doesn't matter anymore what I say. But I lived as a woman, so I can relate, and I have a lot of stuff to say, and I'm still impacted by a lot of sexism. I personally wouldn't want to be born as a cis man, and it's mostly because of that part of womanhood who is so deeply attached to my identity. The last one was being afraid of certain aspects of the transition. When I was figuring out my gender, I was writing down a lot of stuff that will happen to me if I transition medically. And I was trying to see, okay, do I like those, or how would they make me feel? And it's always hard to know when you don't really experience them yet, if it's just in your mind. But sometimes some of them I thought would make me happy, at least it was hard to know. And some of them scared me, like bottom growth, for example, which I'm super happy about right now. But before I was scared about it, and I thought that being scared meant I couldn't be trans, because you have to be super happy about everything that will happen and be sure of it. And that if you're not sure, or if you're scared of what you look like with a beard, then you can't be trans. To anyone watching this video, you are valid. There is no right way to be trans, so don't be afraid to show the world who you truly are.